Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the vlog. So today we are going to, well, talk about the manual transmission and why it's dying off. I'm gonna go over a little bit today, get in the car here, take you for a quick drive with me, and kind of talk about why is the manual dying? Why is it that no one wants a manual transmission and everyone's going automatic, even enthusiasts? There's so many variables when it comes to this. There's so many reasons why people are going to the manual transmission, but I'm going to go over today why I think it's happening, where I see the industry going as a whole, and what's going to be happening. I just want to go over it with you real quick here, the guys, and let's jump in the car and see how this works out. Go ahead and turn this on, and let's talk about this thing right here that if you're watching my old videos, I have a bad habit of doing this when going into neutral. Ooh, God, that sounds good every damn time. Boys and girls, we're going to talk about why is this dying off? Why is the manual, well, pretty much dying out of existence? And if it will go into stinking gear for me. Let's go ahead and put this window up. Maybe you guys can hear me better. So why is the manual transmission dying off? There's multiple factors that, you know, play into this, but I'm going to go over what makes me think that it's dying off, and why it's going away as a whole. Number one, it's just antiquated technology. The automatic transmission has come so far so fast, and it's pretty much made the manual, besides being fun, no real point anymore. There's just no point in having it. I mean, pretty much every vehicle, including at least in my opinion, the last vehicle that really needed and have it has been the 18-wheeler, or the big rig as I call it, and that's the last real vehicle to have a true manual transmission and need it. And now they have dual clutch transmissions that Volvo has now come out with. It's pretty much made it obsolete now. There has been automatic transmissions for those trucks for quite some time now, but with some newer technology has made it so efficient that even a manual can't keep up with the fuel mileage and everything else. Same can also be said with regular day cars and vehicles and stuff. It used to be that the manual transmission got so much better gas mileage that's the reason you kind of went with the manual. One, it was fun. Number two, it was for the fact that you got better fuel economy. That is no longer a factor whatsoever. The automatic is way more efficient than your manual transmission. You know, it just the ability for the automatic to handle more than it ever could, do more than it ever could before. One of the big factors in that would be the fact that we can make big power in an automatic transmission also, unlike the manual and stuff that tends to, I shouldn't say this because you have the TR6060 and other big trans out there holds some pretty serious power, but you could do a build auto, and I guess you could, once again, you could do a build manual, but you're not going to be nearly as consistent. You're going to be going through more transmissions, clutches, shivving them, doing all this other excess work that realistically nowadays just isn't what you want to be doing, especially going down the track. I guess this will be number two here. When it comes down to, no one wants it. Plain and simple. My wife has tried to learn a manual transmission, and it's pretty much come down to the point that it's just not fun for her. She doesn't enjoy it. She has no desire to do it. She says it frees my hands up to do other things, which is part of the reason why, and I'll get to that here, why I think this is a necessity in some ways. People just don't want to deal with it anymore. Everyone wants an automatic. Everyone wants to just get in the car and go. No one wants to deal with shifting gears, worrying about playing with the clutch. It's just not something people want to deal with anymore. Unlike some people like myself who are, you know, die-hard enthusiasts that just have to have a manual transmission, most of the public out there just does not want to deal with it anymore, and they just don't want anything to do with it. Prime example right now, going down the second gear here recently, within the last couple days, has been giving me issues. Now, I think that's because I've been so hard in the transmission, and it's starting to give me a little bit of a bugger. Now, once it warms up, it's not so bad, but when it's cold, it makes a little bit of grinding noises and stuff. I don't really like it, so I'm not sure what's causing that. I might take the trans out here eventually, but that's something with an automatic, for the most part, you're not going to miss shift. You're not going to have that issue. You just get in it, go. Change the fluid. Now, the automatic transmissions fail? Abso-freaking-lutely. But it doesn't really play into the factor of the human error. It usually plays in the factor of worn out parts. With the transmission and clutch and all that stuff, I mean, I can surely destroy a brand new car, brand new clutch quick and in a hurry if you're not an experienced driver. I mean, I could dump the clutch right now and blow it to pieces if I wanted to. With an automatic, for the most part, especially with newer cars, they really limit you. And, you know, only thing that's going to fail is its actual limitations, not a user error, for the most part. Now, we have something like the GTR that has a dual clutch transmission, which allows you to launch the car, and yes, that could detonate your transmission, and yes, that could cause you an issue. But do I see that being something that's normally going to be factored into an automatic vehicle? Absolutely not. That's more of a manual transmission problem and issue in itself. Number 3, cost. Now, for the longest time, and still to this day, the manual transmission is much simpler and was cheaper to get parts and work on. But for the simple fact now that there's more and more automatic transmissions in the market, and that the manual is, well, dying off in a way, there's just, the support's just not there like it used to be. When you really think about it, I mean, I could list off most of the manual transmissions that are out there still. There's a very, very, very short list of manual transmission cars anymore. There's just nothing that really makes big power. The end-all be-all transmission right now would be the TR6060, which comes in numerous vehicles. You have the GT500, the Dodge Viper. I believe it also comes in the GT40. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it comes in the Ford GT, or I shouldn't say GT40, the new Ford GT. That's about new or Ford GT, but that's about it. I don't know. Another prime example of like having to deal with the hassle with the manual transmission is right now, downshifting the car to slow the car down some. Now with an automatic transmission, most cars now, they have paddles on the steering wheel. You can use the downshift, or you just hit the brake and slowly slow down. Now you can do that in a manual also, but it's just, once again, it's just a totally different experience. Now for someone like myself, I truly enjoy driving a manual transmission. I made sure my first car was a manual transmission. Every car I owned, right up until I had the white TSX I have now, has been a manual transmission. I actually bought a brand new Lexus IS250. The last year they offered the manual transmission just so I could have one. I had to have it shipped in the whole way from Texas, as that was one of the last ones they had in the US. And I love that car. Now, it didn't shift the best because Lexus, to save money, pretty much used one of the truck transmissions from the Tacoma, reworked it, and it had some pretty long throws. If you tried to speed shift it, it would grind no matter what you did. I put a short throw shifter and it still had issues, but it was still enjoyable for someone like myself to drive. I still really enjoyed that vehicle as a whole. Another issue is something like right there. Now, not hard to take off there. There's no one around these backcountry roads. But if you're trying to pull out into traffic, it can be a hassle. You know, if you try to slip the clutch and it doesn't grab right away and there's someone coming, you panic, you dump the clutch. If it's automatic, you smash the gas and the car goes. You know, it's not really an issue, and that was a hell of a bump. This back road is awesome. So, I mean, these are just some of the things that I notice, guys. Now, you're probably going to pick this apart and say, oh, Ryan, you're being petty. Some of the stuff is really stupid. And I get it. Like I said, I love the manual transmission. I love growing through the gears. I know it's not efficient. I know I could be faster with an automatic, but I don't care. I physically just love going, downshifting, you know, banging the gears, going as fast as I can. It's something I truly enjoy. One thing you can't do with an automatic is this. Can't do that in an automatic. Ain't gonna happen. Now, they have dual clutch transmissions. We'll let you bang through the gears, but it's not as fun as that, bro. It's not as cool. You don't get to let off. You can't clutch kick. I mean, I don't know. That's from the knowledge I know. I mean, unless there's some, I guess you could talk about straight cut gears, manual transmissions, where you don't have to push the clutch down. Now, first gear you have to. I guess so many people could pick this whole thing apart, but you can't have the fun like I just did there. Like, that was fun as shit to me. Now I need to put the window back up because I doubt you guys can even freaking hear a word I'm saying. But these are the kind of things that, yes, it has some positives, yes, it has some negatives. I personally, I like my automatic here and there, especially on the weekends, or let my wife drive it. It is nice to just cruise along, especially down the highway, stop and go traffic. I don't have to mess with the transmission and deal with the shifting. But if I'm in my play toy and I have something that I just want to go and rip on and play around with all day, this is the car I want to be in. I want a manual transmission. That's why, to me, the Dodge Viper is the last visceral, raw car to be made. Now, obviously Ford and Chevy have the Mustang and stuff, but literally Dodge Viper said, fuck you to the world, put a big 8-liter V10, no nannies, no BS, fucking badass car with a big TR6060 transmission, 650 horsepower, 650 torque, and just said, you know what, nah, America. And I love it. I love everything about it, of the way they just pretty much said, F the world, we're not going to put an auto as an option. Now that car's being killed off because guess what? No one fucking bought them. You know, now as soon as they released that they said they're not going to make them anymore, man, everyone starts snatching them up because they knew they're going to be rare. But besides that, no one cared about them. That's why they died off. The sales weren't there. Now, they were a little highly priced, people thought, for what they were, but you're still talking about a supercar. Supercar numbers. They're about to set the Nürburgring record again for the fastest manual. I mean, those cars are no joke. But just no one cares about it. Everyone would rather have a Gallardo and have an automatic, or you buy an automatic Z06 now. You know, for the longest time, you can only get a Z06 with a manual transmission. These are the kind of things that, like, the buyers, I mean, it's a buyer's market. I mean, whatever we want is what the seller's going to provide to us. You know, the buyer wants automatics. That's what the market's demanding. So that's what's being sold to us. So until we start demanding that we want a manual transmission, it's not going to happen. Now, that being said, also, you have a company like Porsche. I believe it's a new GT3 is going to be offered with the manual transmission, or maybe it's just a regular 911. Don't quote me on that. But they're bringing the manual transmission back for one of the models that only had the PDK there for a while. That's amazing. You know, that doesn't happen very often, that a manufacturer is willing to bring back something because the customer says, you know what, we would like the manual transmission. BMW's another prime example. Every model of M model they have, besides their SUVs and one car, they offer a manual transmission in still, which blows me away. I thought they would have gone to dual clutch transmissions on everything they offer and said, fuck the manual, we're done with it. But no, BMW makes sure that all those vehicles still have a manual, and to me, that is very impressive. Cool, guys. I know I've been a little all over the place with this video, but that's my opinion on why the manual's dying, why some people like them, why some people don't. The market's just not there anymore. People just don't demand them like they used to. Now, don't get me wrong, the manual's still around. There's still quite a few cars that do have them, but your base model cars aren't there. So that, I mean, that's another solid point in itself. You know, if you don't have a learning car, it's very hard to just say, well, I'm going to buy a manual car when I've never learned to drive a manual. You don't want to go buy one because you've never driven one, so you don't want to go buy, say, a $100,000 car. All right, you're buying a brand new Porsche, it's $100 grand. It has a manual transmission. You're not going to buy that. You're going to, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be buying an automatic because you don't know how to drive one. And since those beginner cars aren't there anymore for the youth and for the market, like myself and my friends, we all had manual cars. Now there's just automatic. So I guarantee my children will probably never know how to learn, or never learn how to drive a manual transmission. They'll most likely only ever drive an automatic. And that's because the market for cars just won't be there. God willing, hopefully I still have this car because I love it to death, but I just don't see manual cars in the, you know, lower range market being there anymore. Maybe some special cars, you know, 20 years from now will still have a manual. Hell, there might not be gas motors anymore. Who knows? With the way electric going, it's hard to tell with the market, you know? So again, guys, this is purely 100% my opinion. Let me know your guys' thoughts. I want to hear as much feedback as possible in this and why you think it's going away. I mean, once again, I just think it's the buyer, us, the people. The market just doesn't want it anymore. Let me know your stories. I want to know why you wanted a manual car. What was your first manual car you ever drove? I want to hear your story behind everything and what got you into these and what car are you driving now. I'd love to hear about, you know, if you guys still have a manual transmission car. Besides this, I don't own another one. This is all I have. So I want to hear if you guys have any manual transmission cars still, why you have it, what it's for. Let me know down in the comments, guys. All right. One last thing here, guys, before I... Whoa. Stupid ass cams, making the car buck down low. You know, one other thing I have, here's another problem I have with manual transmission right now. It has gear whine real bad, and it's driving me nuts. It's an R154 now. Apparently, it's synonymous for having gear whine. And it doesn't help that I have fully polished REM from Gear Force polished REM gears, blah blah blah, whatever the hell they're called. And it causes it to whine a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with it, but that's another little nuisance thing. Just to make it last longer and run better, it has so much noise and extra BS to it. The Getrag's the same way. When you go to a triple or twin disc, they have that clutch chatter and stuff when you're sitting idle. Just the little annoying things like that that people might hate. Like I said, I don't really like the gear whine in this, but it's still, the car's so much fun, I just deal with it. So that's the last of it, guys. Thank you very much as usual. I'm gonna go beat the piss out of my car some more. Y'all have a great day. Peace!